Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Have you ever had a situation where things that you planned didn't work? Or when you have situations where having good grades in school, you did all you need to do, you're having poor grades, or you've done all you need to do, you're not getting good job, or the life is becoming miserable, and you think, why is Allah treating me this way? Why is Allah not helping me out? This is a situation where we can find ourselves as Muslims. So today, inshallah, I want to share with us how we can train ourselves to withstand tough situations so that we can triumph and have goodness out of it. My name is Imam Muhammad. I'm the founder and also the director of Maaher Academy for Qur'an and Islamic Studies. We help students learn to recite the Qur'an. So today, inshallah, I want to share with you from the lessons of stories of Musa and Khidr alayhi salatu wasalam. Musa alayhi salatu wasalam is one of the amazing prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And subhanallah, one day he was asked, who is the most knowledgeable on earth? And he said, me. And Allah wants to admonish him and let him know that he is not having that knowledge because of him. Allah chose him to have the knowledge. So he should have ascribed the knowledge to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah want to teach him, and Allah wants him to go learn from other people who are more knowledgeable on earth. And you will see what happened in this story of Musa and Khidr. It's so amazing that we can use this to solve our problems and solve depression problems in this era we live in today, inshallah. And that's why it's important that you learn the Quran. That's why it's important that you understand the stories and the content of the Quran. The stories, as we've been bringing all this discussion over the last few weeks, they're not meant to entertain us, but rather to get us to understand the basic important information Allah wants us to learn to live our life in a good way and achieve success altogether. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم فوجدا عبدا من عبادنا آتيناه رحمة من عندنا وعلمناه من لدنا علما قال له موسى هل أتبعك على أن تعلمني مما علمت رشدا قال إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا وكيف تصبر على ما لم تحط به خبرا. I want you to wait the next few minutes to understand the 4 lessons to solve depression problems, which we'll be learning from this story of Khidr and Musa alayhi salatu wasalam. Musa with his boy, or with his son Yusha ibn Nuh, was traveling with Musa alayhi salatu wasalam. On the journey, Allah sent him to go look for a servant of him. Allah asked Musa to go look for a servant of him, which is Khidr, to go learn from him what Allah has taught him. So Musa can know that he's not the most knowledgeable on earth. And they got to meet Khidr. Allah told us in the Qur'an, Khidr told Musa, he said, إِنَّكَ لَن تَسْتَطِيعَ مَعِيَ صَبْرًا. You see sabr in there? Khidr told Musa, what will happen that I will be doing, which Allah has asked me to do and taught me, you will not be patient to understand why it's happening or why I'm doing that. Musa told Khidr, ستجدني إن شاء الله صابرا ولا أعصي لك أمرا. Musa said, I will be patient inshallah, and I will not offend you. I will not go against you. And what happened? Khidr told him, he said, وكيف تصبر على ما لم تحط به خبرا. How will you be patient on something that you have no clue about? I'll be doing all these things, but you have no knowledge of why I'm doing them. We need to learn something from here, which I will actually talk about at the end of this video. 4 main things that we need to learn to get ourselves, save ourselves from depression. Allah said, both of them embarked on the journey. فانطلقا حتى إذا ركبا في السفينة خرقها قال أخرقتها لتغرق أهلها لَقَدْ جِئْتَ شَيْئًا إِمْرًا. What they did the first time? They bought a boat, and the people on the boat didn't even charge Khidr and Musa to ride the boat. Subhanallah, they gave him a free ride. What did Khidr did? Khidr took a plank of the wood of the sheet of the boat they were in, destroyed it. And Musa saw him. Why did you do this? Why do you do this? The people that were nice to us, they didn't take money from us. Do you want to drown everyone on the boat? Musa was not patient. Khidr told him, you cannot be patient, because Khidr was doing things Allah has commanded him to do. But Musa has no clue and no understanding of why Khidr is doing that. And this is why we need to understand, which we'll talk about in a bit. When something happened, it's not because Allah hates you. It's not because your dua is not accepted. Allah has a wisdom for doing it, or for having that happen, that you have no knowledge about. You have no clue about why it's happening. Musa was asking Khidr. He said, you've done something horrible. You've done something terrible. This is really bad. How will you do this? Musa and Khidr embarked on the journey. Of course, Khidr told him, أَلَمْ أَقُلْ إِنَّكَ لَن تَسْتَطِيعَ مَعِيَ صَبْرًا. Didn't I tell you that you'll not be patient for what I'll be doing? Musa said, لَا تُؤَاخِذْنِي بِمَا نَسِيتُ وَلَا تُرْهِقَنِي مِنْ أَمْرِي عُسْرًا. Do not hold me for what I've forgotten. It was a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. And do not make things hard on me, please. I forgot. Khidr forget about it. And they move on. Allah said, فَانطَلَقَا حَتَّى إِذَا لَقِيَا غُلَامًا فَقَتَلَهُ قال أقتلت نفسا زكية بغير نفس لقد جئت شيئا نكرا. They embarked on the journey again together, and Khidr saw a boy that was playing with other kids. He snatched the boy, smashed his head, and killed the boy. Musa again was surprised. This is horrible. You killed a soul that has not committed any crime of murder. لَقَدْ جِئْتَ شَيْئًا نُكْرًا. You've committed a horrible crime. Musa was still not patient. And Khidr told him. And Musa said, I did it again. Khidr said, أَلَمْ أَقُلْ لَكَ إِنَّكَ لَن تَسْتَطِيعَ مَعِيَ صَبْرًا. Didn't I tell you that you cannot be patient? You cannot be patient. Because you don't understand what I'm doing, and you will be reactive. You will feel horrible. And Musa told him, إِن سَأَلْتُكَ عَن شَيْءٍ بَعْدَهَا فَلَا تُصَاحِبْنِي قَدْ بَلَغْتَ مِن لَدُنِّي عُذْرًا. Allah Akbar. Musa promised Khidr that if I ask you a question again about what you've done, do not befriend me anymore. Let's separate. Do not take me on the journey anymore. And I know you will be fed up with my excuses. There will not be any excuse to give you anymore. And Khidr and Musa continued. Allah said, فَانطَلَقَا حَتَّى إِذَا أَتَيَا أهل قرية استطعما أهلها فأبوا أن يضيفوهما فوجدا فيها جدارا يريد أن ينقض فأقامه قال لو شئت لاتخذت عليه أجرا. Subhanallah. They embarked on the journey and they came to a city. They were thirsty, they were so tired. They asked the people of this city to give them food and water. But the people of the city refused. They didn't give them hospitality. The hospitality was poor. And as they moved in the city, Khidr saw a house that was almost falling apart. And he stood to build back the wall. And Musa said, why did you do this? They didn't give us food, they didn't give us water. So you should have requested for ajr, for a reward or a compensation for this. And the Khidr said, هذا فراق بيني وبينك سأنبئك بتأويل ما لم تستطع عليه صبرا. This is the end of it, right? We're not going to go on a trip together because I told you, you'll not be patient. That's the end of our companionship. And I will tell you why I did all those things I did and why you're not patient to listen. I told you before we started this journey that do not ask me questions until I actually explain to you. Allah want to teach us a big lesson in this story, subhanAllah. When you read the stories of the Qur'an, it does not mean that it's fun and it's really imaginable. You can imagine what is happening, but at the same time, there's a huge lesson to learn from it. And this is why it is important that we Muslims will learn the Qur'an. If you understand this sort of Khidr, depression is not going to be your own portion in this dunya. You're not going to commit suicide. You're not feel bad in this dunya. Why? Because you understand the concept of your creation. Allah has created us on earth and things that will happen. Sometimes we'll know the knowledge of why they happen. Sometimes we have no clue why they happen. We do everything humanly possible. It could have happened to you before. Your child will say, why me? Why did I fail my quizzes? Why did I this and that? And sometimes you even have little kids. You ask them, you say, do not do this. And they say, why? My kid do that. You ask them, do not do this. They say, why? They have no clue of why you ask them not to do it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah knows why things happen. And that's why we need to understand and think, what is the wisdom behind this happening to me? What did Allah want to extract from this? And that is how a mu'min should believe. Rasulullah mentioned, he said, Inna amrahu kullahu khair. He said, Ajaban li amri al-mu'min. Amazing is the affair of a mu'min. Inna amrahu kullahu khair. Everything that happens to a mu'min is good. In asabahu sarra, when goodness is come to them, shakar fakana khayran la. It becomes grateful. He showed gratitude, and that is good for him or her, a mu'min that does that. When asabahu darra, and when calamity, hardship comes on them, sabarak fakana khayran la. They become patient, and that is good for them. And this is not for anyone except a mu'min. Why? Because there's no way you're gonna learn the stories of the Quran and understand it without having an easy life. You need to have a very easy life. Why? Because you know everything is in the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you try to do this, you try to do that, it's not working. It's because Allah has destined that to happen to you. Because Allah mentioned that everyone, the qadar of everyone is written when we're in the womb. When Allah has asked the malaika to blow the ruh into the life of a fetus, then Allah will ask the malaika to write all the destiny. Allah has already have knowledge and have the wish to have everything happen. There are 4 stages to qadr. Al-ilm, al-mashi'ah, al-kitabah, al-khalq. These are the 4 stages of qadr. And when we're in the womb of our parents, Allah have asked the malaika to write down what will be the qadr. Allah is the one that created us, faqaddara, and He has destined what will happen to every one of us. So Khidr has knowledge from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why when Musa met Khidr, Khidr told Musa, I will teach you and show you what Allah has taught me. Allah taught me some knowledge that you don't have. And Allah taught you some things that I don't have either. Musa was humble. He learned from Khidr. But he was so surprised. He cannot bear those horror and saying the things. And he has to speak out. And this is what we have today as we human beings. We want to speak out. But as a mu'min, like Musa did, Musa kept hopeful that Khidr was doing something right? And we need to understand this. When something happened, as part of the lesson, I'll talk, wait to the end of this video to get those 4 lessons to solve depression, inshallah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us that when all this happened, Khidr told Musa about the ship or the boat that he destroyed, because there's a king, whenever he sees the boat is beautiful, he's going to seize the boat from these poor people that were using the boat. So Khidr said he tried to give it some kind of deficiency or some aib, so that the king will not take away the boat from these people unjustly. And that's why he did that. And he told him about the child that he killed. He said his parents are mu'min, they are believers. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants this parent to continue to be Muslims, because if this child is not killed, it's likely this child is going to cause this parent to become kuffar. And that's why the child was killed. And also about the wall that Musa saw Khidr building up. Khidr told him that the owner of this building is 2 orphans in the city. And if this building collapses, there's a treasure beneath this building that's in inheritance to these kids. So if the building collapses, the kids will not know where their inheritance is. وَكَانَ أَبُوهُمَا صَالِحًا. And their parents or dad was a good person, was a mu'min, good righteous person. And that's why Allah wants this kid to grow up and still see the building intact, so they can claim the treasure beneath the building. Musa did not have any knowledge of what Khidr was doing. He was so impatient, he doesn't understand what is going on, and this is normal. And so we as a Muslim, you see, Allah taught Khidr ilm al-ghayb, things, and not everything that Allah taught Khidr. Allah just taught Khidr those things so that Musa can feel humble, that he doesn't know everything, he's not the most knowledgeable. And so what's the lesson we need to learn from this talk, brothers and sisters? We've seen ourselves, our kids, asking questions. You yourself, it happens to us all the time. Oh, I've done this, I've written my exam 3 times, I didn't pass my exams. Oh, I tried to do this and that, it's not working. Why others are doing it, why I'm not getting it? Or I tried to write exams. We complain and we see whatever happened is because of our own weaknesses. We think that. So as a Muslim, we shouldn't think that. So the 4 lessons that we can use in our life from this story, 1 is that delay does not mean denial. Allah will delay something for you, it does not mean denial. When Allah delays, it does not mean Allah deny you of that. So delays is not equal to denial. Allah will delay and you need to be patient. Because if you are patient, that's when goodness will come after. The second lesson we need to understand from this story is that whenever something happened, we don't understand it, just leave it. Believe in it. You believe that Allah has planned it. If you have no clue of why, despite all your effort, and something happened, anyhow it happened, well, you have no understanding of the cause of it, just believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be the planner. You don't understand what happened, just believe in it. You see it happening, you have no clue of why it happened, let it be, so that you're not trying to question Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for having that thing that happened to you happen. The other lesson I want to learn from this story is that to respect teachers, to respect elders. A lot of people today have actually fallen into problems because they were not listening to instructions, they were not listening to guidance from their parents. A lot of you teenagers today, you have done things or doing things your parents are saying this is wrong. Why? Because they have understanding. Allah has taught them from their own experience on earth that this is not right. And they are teaching you as a teenager, but you are persistent and saying, I want to do what I want to do. You can get destroyed and get into trouble, and later on you'll cry back to your parent, but they've warned you beforehand, right? Musa was patient, of course not 100% patient, but he accepted what Khidr was doing, and later on he was still humble because he told Khidr, please, I'm sorry, I did a mistake asking you again. Musa was apologizing all the time whenever he asked Khidr of what he has done. So we need to learn this. As even as parents, when Allah said do this, do not question why Allah said that. When the Prophet asks you to do something, do not question, oh, why? Oh, this is now really good because we live in the 21st century. Why are we going to do something Allah said, which is not appropriate to this era that we live in? People do that. And this is the reason for destruction of human beings. So obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger, so you're going to have rest of mind. And the last lesson we need to learn from this is that inna ma'al usri yusra. When you have hardship, Allah will bring ease for you after hardship. You see, Khidr alayhi salatu salam and Musa alayhi salatu salam, these are prophets for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They have no understanding except what Allah taught them. They have no knowledge of the unseen except what Allah taught them. Allah told us this story so that we can understand that even Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like Rasulullah said, قُلْ لَا أَمْلِكُ لِنَفْسِي نَفْعًا وَلَا ضَرًّا. I don't have the power to bring benefits or to bring difficulty to myself except what Allah wants. Rasulullah declared that in the Qur'an. Musa thought he knew everything. Allah said, you don't have all the knowledge. So Allah humbled him. So he humbled himself as well. And after what happened, Allah make goodness come out of this for him. So we need to understand, to recap the 4 lessons, and we will hold on to these 4 lessons from the Quran. Allah would use this to help us save us from calamity of depression, of suicide, committing suicide. It's horrible. People do that. So we need to know, 1, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will test us. And when something happened, when you get delayed in something that you want to achieve, you couldn't achieve that, it's not a denial, it's a delay. Allah could delay that for a reason best known to Him. You need to trust and obey and have resilience and understand that. And that's what will give you peace of mind. And when you have seen something happening, you have no understanding of why it happens, then believe in it and know this is Allah's plan for you. Then be attentive to guidance from people. Be humble to your teachers, to your parents. Listen and learn from them. The 4th lesson is that you need to understand that when difficulty comes, then ease comes. Allah mentioned, Rasulullah hadith said, فَمَنْ رَضِيَ فَلَوْ رِضَى. When the calamity comes, whoever becomes pleased with Allah's test, and these are those who will have the appeasement and will have the ease, and Allah is going to be pleased with them because Allah will replenish what they've lost with goodness. وَمَنْ سَخَطَ فَلَهُ سُخْطٌ. Whoever become arrogant and become hungry because Allah tested them, then they will have that hunger over. They will not be resting, they will not have peace of mind. So there's peace of mind in having faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and knowing fully well that whatever happened is because Allah wanted it to happen. And whatever does not happen because you want it to happen, it's Allah's plan as well. So one thing that you can do to have Allah change the bad qadr, the bad destiny that's been written, is to make dua, recite the Qur'an, and use that to do tawassul to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to change the qadar as-su, bad destiny that's been written for you. You can do sadaqah, it can take away all those bad occurrences. But whatever happened to you, you need to have the iman. So if you want your child to get closer to the Qur'an, learn the deen, be more conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so they can live a better life. We all try all day and night to get our kids into schools, to get them this and that, exams, see brothers and sisters. All the exams and all the schools will not save you or your child from calamity of this dunya when they come. And this is the real life. Mathematics, English will not help you in depression, right? It is only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the guidance from the Quran that will really help you. So do not waste too much of your time. Learn to recite the Quran. Learn to understand the story of the Quran. So if you'd like to get started and have your child join us in the program here and have your child learn to connect to the Quran, there's a video up there. Watch to see how we help students learn to recite the Quran in just 4 months. Get started on that. And if you are an adult, there's also a link here. Check the description below. You can get started in the adult Safe Quran with Influencer program to get yourself to learn to read the Quran. If your child is already reciting the Quran, we have a course called the Islamic Science and Foundation program that helps students learn and synthesize all these kind of lessons. They learn the meaning of the Quran words, they learn tafsir, hadith, and all the topics about Islam so they can be well involved and well understanding of their religion and know how to live and lead a good and easy life. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to save all of us from depression. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect our hearts. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us patience on ibtila, on bala. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us best of this dunya and best of akhirah. Subhanaka wa bihamdika wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant wa nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Comment influence below this video if you want to get started and join our Reinfluence program. Assalamu alaikum.